Good morning to you. I hope you're really good. John here. I've just come out for a little walk in the woods, and I'm just noticing how, because it's still winter, February, often the coldest month in many ways, how everything seems to be still kind of in stasis, and we kind of, we don't recognize the life that's in the kind of the plants and the trees and the growth and the bulbs in the ground and so on. And yet, when we take a walk in the woods, we often can sense that, we can feel it. It looks like nothing is happening, and yet suddenly we know that just in a few short weeks, things are going to start bursting forth. And we've got used to that cycle, we've got used to it. And yet in our own lives, we tend to not feel the life that's in us. We tend to think this is it, this is how it's always going to be. We have a bad feeling about something, something goes wrong, or even if we're happy, we want the happiness to continue forever, and we hope that there's no season or changes, or when there's a time of stasis, we think, well, this is it then forever, I am trapped like this. And yet all of life, all of nature is just trying to show us how things are. Things are just moving, and in times of stasis, life is kind of waiting to burst forth, but we hold on so tight that we can override the life. We cut the branches off to make sure that nothing is going to grow, in ourselves a lot of the time. Anyway, that's not what I came out to talk about at all. It's just what was going through my heart and mind as I was walking. It's just, if we can just feel into that I am of life inside us, what we might call the soul. What is the soul? And we grow, and we may not grow the way we think we're going to grow, but we grow. And it doesn't mean that we get to avoid anything. We still have to sort everything out. We may have to plant the garden afresh and things like that, but then at least we can see what we're doing. Anyway, in my last proper video, which I think was the cows, or it may be the one near the Ganges, in one or the other, I was saying that I wanted to ask your advice about something, and so I suddenly remembered this because I hadn't made a video for a few weeks, and I thought, well, I'll come for a little walk just to be sort of off on my own, and then maybe if I feel like making a video, I'll bring that up. So what it is I've had quite a few requests lately to guide people more often, to kind of try and find some way to create a way to help people on a kind of more regular basis with their practice. And I've been doing kind of in-person retreats and things like that, and I love those. I absolutely love just being in practice with others. It's just incredible, and kind of being the one who holds the space. Not that it's me holding the space, but being the vehicle for that, or the instrument for that, and seeing people in a few short, moments, hours, the no time of presence whatsoever kind of thing, actually kind of come back to themselves. And but I realise there's kind of limitations in doing that. I can't afford, for example, to make my way around the world kind of thing. I'm not in a position to do that at the moment. I paused to talk to the guy with the dogs who was behind me, and just let him come by, because it's funny, I just like to be me and you when we're filming, So I was saying, and I look at my kind of analytics online and things when I send out a newsletter and stuff like that. And I realised that there are more people kind of around the world than there are in the vicinity where I'm teaching. And I do hope in time, as things grow, that I can get out to California and Arizona and Chicago and you know, some places in Europe and stuff like that, and run retreats and things. I just don't have the mechanism for that. I don't know people. I'm not part of that world of retreats and things, and strangely a lot of it doesn't seem to kind of fit what we're doing here, you know. This is definitely old school and not very Instagrammable, although I try my best. But so one idea that I had was to create an online community through the website. I mean, I know we have a little Facebook community, but this is kind of you know, somewhere that's absolutely dedicated to practice, so that you become a member, and you know, as often as I can, I'll run like a weekly meditation session, you know, apart from when I'm traveling and things like that. Run some day retreats on there that we can do live, so live streaming, lots of stuff live streaming. Maybe some week retreats, have courses that are downloadable that can be bought, about all sorts of things around the life of practice and sadhana and so on. And yeah, just generally a kind of a portal for interaction. And what I was thinking is kind of, how do I make that work? You know, how do I make that work? There's definitely mechanisms out there to do that. Some of them are hugely expensive to have. You know, live streaming of content and things like that is very, very expensive, and things like, you know, YouTube Live and things are just not up to the mark for what we need to do. But we can find ways to do things, because, you know, you can always find a way, and you start where you are. So that's what we're looking at. So what I wanted to ask is, you know, do I create this community and make it free? There's a dog running towards me right now. Do I make it sort of free for people to be a member of, and then they have to pay for each thing, you know, because I'll have to pay for the background of things and stuff, you know, for the websites and the mechanics of it and stuff like that? Do I charge a membership fee and then perhaps offer a reduced rate if you buy a course or something? I don't know. I just don't know how to do this, but I'm open to hearing how it could work. Something else that I'm working on is I'm creating a sadhana. A sadhana is basically just a daily suggestion of how one might go about practice to bring about, you know, meeting of your true self, self-realization, awakening. It's not that the practice itself triggers self-realization, of course. It's that we prepare the ground and sort out our stuff psychologically, emotionally, learn to live with love in our bodies and so on, so that if grace allows, and we've kind of, you know, met the stuff that we need to meet in our lives and healed and forgiven ourselves appropriately, and wherever we make space, that sort of feeling of truth, of I am, can come in, of God, basically. And so I'm kind of working on that too, and that's going to be free. It won't actually contain any practices, only a suggestion of how you might go about your practices. And then I want to kind of, through the online community, have a kind of a place where people who are working with that, as it comes through this person, can kind of gather together as well, kind of once a month or something like that, and then maybe we have like a yearly retreat and things. So it's really exciting stuff. I think it's my focus for the next year or two to do this. I've got a very dear friend who does web design. She's helping me with research into this, but I'd like to hear from you what you want, and I'd like your advice on how to do it. And also if you have advice about how I can get, for example, to the US. I think there's a real need to come to the US and show and bring this message, you know, a message of authenticity and of being and of just turning up in presence and love, and how that changes things. And there's nothing airy-fairy about that, you know. You might worry that you engage in these practices and you become weak in some way. You become so strong, you know. A yes or a no in presence is very different from any kind of yes or no that comes just purely from the mind or idealism or ideas or something like that. So the kind of the strength of the practice is quite amazing, and none of it is false. That's what makes it real, you see. You're standing in the ground of being. So yeah, anyway, I hope you're okay. I've recorded this, I realise, without my little tie-clip microphone, so and there's a bit of a breeze, so I apologise if there's any wind noise. Yeah, I'm just sorry, I just forgot to do that. I was so excited to get out of the car and get into the woods. So yeah, let me know what you think. Leave a comment down below, contact me through the website or something, you know, if you have some sort of serious ideas, or if you have a place where we could run a retreat and think about how we could raise money to kind of do that. Let me know. Anyway, lots of love to you. I'm just going to continue on my walk. Bless you.